Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Irish Pharmacy Chat. I'm Samantha Kelly, otherwise known as the Tweeting Goddess, and we have Tomas Conefrey, who is going to talk to us this evening about blood pressure monitoring services. So I'm just going to welcome people who are here. So you're very welcome. Thanks for joining us. As you know, we've only started this recently. Sinead, lovely to see you, Sinead, and Jennifer. Thank you so much for joining. I'm going to invite Tomas on screen now so that he can say hello, and hopefully we'll have no technical difficulties. Live streaming is always fun if you don't have good Wi-Fi and stuff, but I think we're going to be good.
Hi, Sam.
There he is.
How are you?
Good, thanks. Thanks for joining us, Tomas.
Thanks for having me.
We're delighted, and it's a good topic as well. Sharon has joined us as well. Thanks, Sharon, for joining. So just to let the people know as well, if they want to ask a question, if you click on the Ask a Question button, then that will be a great way for us to answer any questions that come up during your presentation or what you're talking about. So Tomas, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm a community pharmacist. I'm working Conefrey's Care Plus Pharmacy in Pearse Street in Dublin 2. We have family business. We're 63 years in operation this year, and we're doing well. I've a lot of interests in pharmacy as well, different things, and I'm just going to talk tonight about a little service that we started. Well, not a little service, but a service we started last year. 24-hour blood pressure monitoring, Sam. It's going since last July.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
And so, tell us, why did you decide to do this, Tomas?
I tried to do it a few years ago, Sam, and I just couldn't get it off the ground. So I was talking to some of my colleagues last summer, and they were telling me they were doing the service and they're finding it very successful. So I kind of said, well, sure, I'll go back and hopefully learn from my mistakes from the first time. And it's been slow to get off the ground, but it's starting to get a bit of traction now, thankfully, in the last 2 or 3 months. I mean, the big difference between when I tried it previously and what I'm doing now is I got all my staff involved this time. Whereas the last time I was trying to do it all by myself, and it was too much, just fell by the wayside. I mean, it's great. It's a great service actually, and I'm very, very happy with it. I had to use it myself as well. We'll see later on. I had to use it myself for something. So no, I'm very happy with it, and so far so good. Getting good feedback.
So for anyone watching that maybe might need this service, but also a pharmacist that might be wanting to supply this service, what's involved exactly? Do you want me to share the images of the actual?
Yeah, I'll just say a little bit first, Sam, and then we can show the images. So we could all be walking around with high blood pressure for all we know. Like, you wouldn't necessarily feel like you've got high blood pressure, and usually it comes like somebody has a medical, or in my own case, that's what happened. I had a medical and my blood pressure was high. Or, you could have medical, or you could just be a routine doctor's appointment and your blood pressure could be high. Now, the 24-hour blood pressure monitoring service is this is the gold standard of diagnosing blood pressure or hypertension. I mean, you could just go to the doctor in a one-off and have high blood pressure, and they call that white coat hypertension. Now, It's not always the case that you might go home and you'll be fine. Your blood pressure goes back down. I guess people get a bit anxious and stuff like that. So when they go to a doctor, maybe it might only be natural that the blood pressure goes up. But what this system involves is you wear a cuff for 24 hours. And over the course of 24 hours, every half hour, it takes a measurement of your blood pressure. So when you go back to your GP the next day, you'll have a report to show the GP. So the GP can kind of look and say, well, I think over the course of the 24 hours, your blood pressure is okay. Or having said, they might look at it again and say, well, we might need to look into this a bit further as well. So it's kind of a diagnostic tool as well. As opposed to just going to the doctor once, getting your blood pressure taken, it gives a complete picture of 24 hours in your life and 24 hours of your blood pressure.
So if anyone wanted to avail of this service, what's involved?
Okay, so there's a bit of kit you have to wear. Now, I have some pictures I sent you earlier on, so maybe we can...
I'll get them up now.
I'll talk you through them.
Great, okay. I'll just go into my... Now.
Okay, yeah, perfect. So this is the kit itself. So as you can see, you on my left arm, if you look over to the left, you see my left arm, there's a cuff which is attached to me. And on the right-hand side of my body, there's a little pouch. And in that pouch is the 24-hour blood pressure monitoring machine. So when somebody comes in to see us, what we do is we plug it into our laptop at the back and we just upload all their details. So we just ask like their name, their their age. Also, we need to know what time roughly they go to bed, what time roughly they get up at. So we put all these details in, and what do? We bring them into our consultation room, and we attach the apparatus. We put the cuff on first, and then we feed the little tube over the shoulder, and just to keep it comfortable when somebody's wearing it, it goes into the little pouch, which is just on the right hand side. Could we move a photograph picture along? I'll just show you the back of it as well if we can. Yeah, so this is what it looks like on the back, Sam, as well. So you can see the back of the cuff on my left arm there now, and you see the way the machine just feeds over to the tube just goes into the right.
Sorry, one moment, please. Sorry about this.
Yeah.
One moment.
Yeah.
The joys of live streaming. Hang on, I'm just going to mute myself. Okay, so you.
Okay. Go ahead. Yeah. Okay. So if we can show on the pictures again, if possible. So the kit, it goes on the back. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, and if we show just with the cuff, Sam, for the last one. Yeah, and we'll just go down the next one. So this is what the actual cuff looks like. So we just put it in on the left arm and just above the elbow, and it feeds over on itself, and it is Velcro to seal it. What it does, it like I say, it takes a picture of somebody's blood pressure over 24 hours. And it's important that when the person comes to see us and gets this fitted, they wear, loose fitting clothes like short sleeves or a t-shirt or something like that. Also, if somebody's wearing this, they have to bear in mind that they won't be able to shower for 24 hours, or at least until that comes off. So it's very important to tell people that, because people sometimes come in and think that they're going to, come in, get it, and just go home and come back the next day. There is a bit of stuff involved with it. You need to just be aware of these things and tell the person these things when they come in. So really, that's it. Now, we'll go back. We can park that for a minute. But also another thing as well, if the pouch, when you go to bed, obviously you don't wear the little pouch when you go to bed. So what you do is you take the pouch off over your head and put it just beside your bed, to your locker, wherever, and so you sleep with that. Unfortunately, every hour during the night it squeezes, so it might wake you up during the night, so you might have the best night's sleep. But really, what do you do? We recommend people to come in, say early, and come out in bed 10, 11 in the morning, and then come back to us the following day at 10 or 11 o'clock. That's it. Okay, so that's kind of it. So what we did now with the service as well is in our area there was a demand for it, or at least I thought there was a demand. I talked to the GPs in our local primary care centre, and they said that they have machines, but they're booked up, and people would be looking for this service. And also, I talked to one of my other GPs as well, and he sends people off to a hospital to get it done. So I said, well, maybe we could try it in the area. So, like I said, that's when it kind of got me started. And from talking to my colleagues, I asked them, like, what's the best way to run the service?
Mm.
So what they said to me was, you do it 3 times a week. You do it on a Monday, a Wednesday, a Friday. So somebody comes into you on Monday, books you in on Monday. They come back to you on Tuesday, and you get the machine back. So on Wednesday, you send it out again, comes back on Thursday. Friday, it goes out again, and it comes back on Saturday. So that way, you're doing it 3 times a week. So that's kind of the way I've been running it. It gets a bit awkward sometimes. People, like one time we did it on a Saturday and somebody forgot to come back. So we didn't get it on the Monday.
All right.
No, tell me about it. These are the teething problems you sort of have. But anyway, you live and learn. So that's kind of the way we'd run it now. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And so they come back on the Tuesday, come back on the Thursday, come back on the Saturday. And when they come back to us, Sam, we produce a report. And now I think it's one of the screenshots there.
Okay.
The actual report's my own report from earlier on before Christmas. Can we stick that up? And I'll just show you. It's this one here, yeah. So this is the report actually we get. So now it's quite complicated, and like I want to kind of keep it kind of light as well. So I don't want to go into too much of it. What we do is we give this report, we print it off, we give it to the customer. Also, we send it to their GP as well, and we can email it and we post it as well. And what we do is we give this to the customer and say, now, this is your report, go back to your GP, and if you have any more queries, just come back to us. It's up to really the GP to interpret this, Sam. It's not really up to us to do it. So we're providing the service, and I can have a look at it. But at the same time, the GP is more expert in this than we would be. So I think we provide the service as a way of, it speeds up the diagnosis of hypertension or high blood pressure. So,
do you find that people were coming? Do you find that people were coming into you for this, and then they might actually use your maybe might never have been in the pharmacy before, and they become a new customer after it?
Potentially, yeah. We've had a good few. One of our local GPs has really got behind it, and we get maybe 1 or 2 people a week from her just for this. People who we've never seen before. That ideally, this is the kind of a sort of a lead product, to get people to come in, and you can have a chat with them as well. I mean, like I said, the beauty of this now is any member of staff can do it. So it doesn't have to be me or my colleague pharmacist doing it either. It's, we do it, and we can kind of sit down and have a chat with them and ultimately say, look, here's your report. You need to go and talk to your GP because they may need to prescribe you something, or may need, they need to have a chat about something with you. It's working well in terms of that. It's an extra service, and there's plenty of there's plenty of opportunity to get talking to people. It's not the way you're talking to people, essentially, Sam, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, this is it, and and the fact that you started doing it, like, did you advertise it much, or how did you get the word out that you were doing this? Did you just go to local GPs, or how did you?
I got a flyer done up. Actually, I have a still of that, I think, at one of the things. So what we did is I wrote to all our local GPs and I said, look, we have this service. If you needed anybody, I'd be delighted if you thought of us, and I'd be only too happy to provide it for them. So like I say, one of the GPs has really got behind it, and we're starting to get 1 or 2 people a week from her just for the service. So in and of itself, it's that's working well. Also, I use social media, like I use Twitter, I use Facebook and LinkedIn and things like that. I put up, it's a bit slower there, but our most direct way of getting the word out has been to put the flyers in customers' bags, but also to contact the GPs. They would ultimately drive it, I think. Now, there is other ways. Another thing I did was I had an appointment last week with a mentor in the Dublin LEO, and we're just looking at this particular service because I was looking for ideas to try and push it on from where we were. Now, I just got the report back this week, and we came up with a lot of good ideas, things I had never really thought of to kind of push the service as well. And that's funny, I just had the idea before Christmas. I said, I'll give it a try. And it was the best 3 hours I think I spent in a long time, because we sat back and looked at the service and away from the pharmacy as well. And I was able to we did all the numbers, crunched all the numbers.
You have to look at, like how much it's taking.
Yeah.
And how much of your, there's some pitfalls. Like, I'd be interested to know the pitfalls actually as well.
Yeah. Like I say, it takes time. I wouldn't say it's a pitfall, but it's part of the service. It does take time. Also, it's expensive. Well, I think it's not that expensive, but it's €50. And in the area we work in, we've a lot of people who have medical cards, so they wouldn't have the income necessarily to be able to pay for it. Now, when I say pitfall, it's more just that's not really a pitfall, but it's just a challenge. Let's just say we have with it. Pitfall also, I think at times, there's a lot of people out there walking around who don't have blood pressure diagnosed. So I suppose it's building an awareness of it. So I think that's a challenge as well. I've talked to a good few people as well. We have a machine actually in the shop as well that does weight and height and BMI and blood pressure and stuff like that. And when people come in and use that machine, Sam, the blood pressure is always the last thing they look at. They look at their weight probably first, their height, BMI, all this sort of stuff. So the blood pressure seems to be the last thing. So I suppose that's a kind of a challenge for us, is to kind of get blood pressure up that list. That maybe they might look at their weight first and their blood pressure second.
Okay. Well, if anyone in the chat has any ideas, I know I have some ideas of how you could do that.
Yeah, sure.
So, and that's why we're here as well. It's not just it's to share ideas and with each other. So I think for you, definitely, I think writing articles on blood pressure and stuff like that would be a great way to go about it, and get those on. If you don't have a website, you could actually just make a graphic. You can make graphics. There's like canva.com. If any of you, Do you use that, Thomas, yourself?
I do, yeah. I've done it. I haven't done it for this, but I have to use it for other things as well.
You could make like a graphic with just the basics, 1, 2, 3. Did you know? Did you know that blood pressure is something that's ignored? Like, put the points into graphics and put them out over time and use them on social media. And also, like, when you write things about, like, you could write on LinkedIn, for example, write an article about this is what's happening. People are coming in. You could say 5 reasons why we think people are coming in and only asking about their weight.
Yeah, sure.
Five reasons why I think people are ignoring high blood pressure, or 5 things to look out for. Those things do really well, and then it shows you that you are the expert, and it will bring people in that way. So that's one way of doing it. And then the other way is, social media is very powerful if it's used correctly. And I know, Thomas, you're probably one of the best pharmacies on Twitter. Like, definitely, build a community around you. Like, take part in Irish Pharmacy Chat, for example, which is on every Thursday night. It's going to change to 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. because I think a lot of us have children and we're trying to get them to bed and all that kind of stuff. Did you know your blood pressure could kill you? There you go. There's a great from Elaine, and Elaine is in Canada joining us, and she just came up with that idea. That's a great title, because when you do use those kind of titles, that gets people's attention. And you could have a follow-up thing as well. Like, you could have some kind of maybe having an evening, an information evening. Now, I know this is a lot, but you could use social media to promote the fact that you have the evening there. Use Twitter Live, use Facebook Live, and you could have an evening where you get someone in to kind of give tips. And people, like, lots of people want to raise their profile. So there's lots of people in the health space that would like to do that and come in and help. And keep those people that have come in before and make sure they spread the word. So what you're doing is great. You're being friendly. You're giving them consultation. You're actually, they're going to spread the word for you as well, which is great. Yeah. And your colleagues, even if they don't do blood pressure, like, they can actually send people to you. So there's lots of pharmacies around you that maybe don't provide this service, that maybe they might be able to send people your way, and there might be a service you don't provide that you can send to them.
It's funny, of all my colleagues in the area, I've never heard any of them talk about it, Sam, as running a service. So, that in and of itself is a kind of an opportunity, I think, for us. The fact that nobody else seems to be doing it, and especially, it's good for the staff as well. I'm glad to get them involved because we don't have to interpret it. All they need to know is how to actually get the kit going, produce a report and get everything kind of ready. So it's a good service. It's a good team. It's a good kind of team building thing, I suppose, for lack of a better word. Everybody gets involved. We've got, and even the girls who are on the front of the counter are very good salespeople for it. They'll kind of say, well, people will tell them, well, I don't feel well. I think my blood pressure might be at me. And they say, well, did you know we have this service? Here's a leaflet about it. Talk to Ling or Tomas or Laura about it. We'll be only too glad to help you. So there's plenty of, it's not just me doing it, which I said was the big message that I learned the last time when I got it wrong. Now I have everybody involved, and it's a kind of a group effort to get everybody to let everybody know about it. Yeah.
And I think everybody here watching this now, actually, and we're going to share this out in social media later, we could spread the word for you as well, Thomas. So if you want to I'm going to drop your Twitter handle into the chat so people can see you. Does anyone have a question for Thomas there that we can actually ask him before we finish up here? Is there anything you want to add there, Thomas, about this?
About the service? Let me think. The only thing, Sam, I'd say is, like, we can do so much for people, for customers. Like, it's not just the 24-hour blood pressure service, but we do lots of other things as well. You might come in for one thing and you come out with another, if you know what I mean. But
one illness and come out with 10.
But there's plenty of things we can do as well. Like even you don't have to necessarily go and buy something off a pharmacy. Go in and talk to them, have a chat with them. Especially, your health. We build these things up in our mind to be bigger sometimes than they are. So I think it's important, if you have a kind of a sounding board, and go in and talk to your pharmacist for 5 minutes if you're worried about some aspect of your health. What I like to say to people is I'm very definitive. Like, I tell them, I know what I can do, and if I can't do it, I know where to send people.
Oh, Sharon, take that down. Say that again, Thomas.
So I know what I can do, and if I can't help them, I know where to send people. So you might come in, Sam, and your arm is hanging off. literally. And I'll say, well, I can't help you. I think you need to go to the hospital. But sometimes you might just have a cut in your finger. And I said, well, I can get you a plaster, I can get you dressing, and get you something for that. So I think really people come in and I can look at them straight away and then say, look, right, you know, I can help you or I can't help you.
No hope for you, Samantha. I'm not going to be able to change your face.
No, not at all. No, but you know what I mean. You know, it's a kind of it's a great service that we have, and like, you know,
I agree. My local pharmacy, Thomas. I mean, you know, I live in Wexford, and I've dropped into your pharmacy because I've seen you on Twitter. I mean, there's absolutely no reason for me to go into your pharmacy. Only because of you, I went in. You know, and this is the thing. And people buy from people. Elaine has said, I always say I may not have the answer yet. Let me find out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That's the real value of the community pharmacy. And I agree totally, Sharon. Like, I went into my pharmacist last week, and my daughter is diabetic type 1, and she was stressing me out on the phone, saying that she'd ordered her strips, you know, her test strips. And I was like, and the pharmacy girl was like, look, they're not here. And I was like, to be honest, I wasn't really the nicest customer, I suppose, because I was kind of getting it from her, you know, on the phone. And then they were so lovely. And then they found them. And they were like, oh my God, we found them. Like, sorry, she did order them. And so it was like, oh, but you know, like, you're not just, you're actually nearly a counselor as well. You know, you're nearly, you know, you're listening to people, and like, she had to listen to me saying, sorry, she was just on the phone to me, and you know, and so like, she didn't have to hear that. Do you know what I mean? Like, but, and then there's the consultation room. And then sometimes I would have missed my weigh in when I was doing Unislim, and they used to let me weigh myself on the weighing scale. So and I always buy my presents there at Christmas. I just go in there and buy my presents there because it's all in one place. And, you know, I think that the community, and that's what we're trying to do here, is build a community of like-minded people and pharmacists that can help each other, really. And you are really a huge advocate of that, I find.
Yeah, well, like the job title, Sam, is community pharmacist, which is I have it on my Twitter, actually, community pharmacist. So I mean, that's what we do. So it's about community, and I'm fortunate now where I work in Dublin City Centre that there is that community aspect to it. And like I say, we're 63 years. Like, you know, my family's 63 years in Pierce Street. So we are, even though I don't live in the area, we are more entrenched in the area maybe than some people that do live in the area because we've been there so long. So it's all part. And like I say, like, you know, growing up, I knew people, I knew their seed breeding generation. And it's kind of when my own kids are starting to come into our pharmacy a bit now as well. So people are starting to get to know them as well. So it's kind of coming around again. So it's great now. Yeah, but like I say, you know, I think this is a great service myself. It saves people time, saves people money as well. Because, you know, somebody was saying, the doctor said he was sending people to the hospital. It was like €200 to get it done. Whereas we're €50. It's still expensive, but, you know, I think it's peace of mind. That's the thing about, you know.
That's something you didn't mention. So you're actually cheaper than if they go. So are you saying that you're actually providing a cheaper service as well?
Yeah. That's a
big selling point. I think Elaine will agree with me.
One of our GPs sends people to one of the hospitals, and they charge €200 I think, which is the same service. I don't know exactly what all that entails, but it's a 24-hour blood pressure monitoring service they do. So we're like €50, they're €200.
Now, Elaine has just said that's a huge selling point. So there you go. Hi, Lyndon. Thank you for joining. But Thomas, excuse the noise there in the background. I'm just going to move in a minute if this keeps up. But
okay. But like, we've plenty of opportunities now. Okay. Yeah.
I think what you've done there is really important, that we actually all help you spread the word about that. So do bring it up on Irish Pharmacy Chat. Yeah. I'm going to wrap things up here because things are kicking off here at home.
Perfect, no problem.
And you can identify with that. I know that, Thomas, because we had a little child here earlier as well.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I want to thank you, and I want everybody, if you could go and follow Thomas, because he has a great Twitter and he is very active, and he walks the walk, and it's people like Thomas we want to support and help them. So if you are in Dublin City Centre, do drop into his pharmacy. It's lovely. And Thomas, I think we'll do another webinar with you soon. And thank you so much for your time.
I'd be delighted. Joe, we might do maybe 6 months from now, Sam. We might do another 24 hours, see what the next level is, hopefully. So.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. And thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you. And we'll see you on Irish Pharmacy Chat on Thursday at 10 p.m.
10 tomorrow night, Sam.
Okay, tomorrow. Thursday, is it?
Thursday. Will be 10 o'clock tomorrow.
10 o'clock tomorrow night. And we also have another webinar coming up with Attract Maria Burke, and it's all about self-care for the pharmacist, Thomas. So that will be for you. I'm going to drop the link in here. It's here's the link here. Thank you, Sinead, for joining, and I'm glad you found that very helpful. Thank you so much. And that's what this is all about, you know. It's February 22nd is the next webinar at 10 a.m. and it's a morning one this time, but you can watch it. This is recorded, and we will put this out on social media for you and stuff. So thank you so much, Thomas. And
can I say one last thing before we go? If anybody here wants any more information on the service, drop me a thing on Twitter and I can talk to them. I can ring them, whatever they want. Especially if there's any pharmacists here, I'd be only too glad to talk to you. And I can go into a bit more depth on some of the things I do, and especially the stuff I did with the LEO. I thought that was really, that was the best investment I've made for a long time.
Right, and that was just getting tips on how to get more people in for this.
Yeah, well, I met with a business mentor for 3 hours, and we just looked at the thing from every different angle, and it was brilliant.
Brilliant. Well, you know what? Maybe do a little article about what you learned.
Perfect.
And, maybe something like that would be another thing that I would like to read. So definitely start sharing this stuff out yourself and showing you're the expert, Thomas, because you have so much to learn, to share, and you also have a lovely, kind nature about you, and I know that. So thank you so much, and everybody give Thomas a follow, and I shall see you on Irish Pharmacy Chat tomorrow at 10 p.m.
Okay, thanks, Sam. Good night. Thank you.
Thank you.